Hello, welcome back. Guys, I am so excited for today's Listen With Me. Today we're gonna listen to SHAED's new album, High Dive. Listen, I don't know about you, but like Chelsea Lee just inspires me. I think that she's a beautiful person inside and out, and I am just so excited to see what SHAED has got for us. I'm just fangirling so hard right now. This is actually their first full-length album. I know they've been out for a little while. I think they had 2 EPs before this, but no full-length albums. So I don't really know what to expect. I haven't heard anything from this album yet, so this will be the very first time that I'm hearing it. But I have a feeling it's gonna be good because it's SHAED. How could it not be good? But anyway, for those of you guys that are new here, welcome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. So glad you could be here. My name is Dano. I'm a singer-songwriter from Asbury Park, New Jersey. And I started doing these Listen With Me's because as I am trying to develop my own skills as a songwriter, the most important or the most helpful thing to me is listening to other artists that do it very well. And I have a handy dandy notebook that's somewhere here that I will be taking notes throughout the song. Some things that I definitely am gonna try to incorporate in my own music, so I will be sharing those with you in between songs. So I think if you're a songwriter, you're gonna get a lot of value out of it. And if you're not a songwriter, I think you're gonna have fun just hanging out and listening to some good music with me. But anyway, that's enough of me chit-chatting. Let's get right into it. The very first song is called Dizzy. Ooh. I knew this. Guys, I can't. Okay, I knew this album was gonna be good, but I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know that it was gonna be that good. Wow, I'm like completely blown away and I cannot wait for the rest of this album. It's gonna be so freaking dope. Okay, let's just talk about a few things here. The pizzicato strings, mwah, I love it. It kind of makes it feel a little bit creepy. And can we talk about that super awesome sample that I don't really know how to describe it except for it sounded like breaking strings or strings that are like super high tension and they're like cracking a little bit. It came in right before the second chorus and then one other part later on in the song. Like so freaking cool. I love that effect. It's so creative and it really helps convey the emotion of the song. Brilliant. I also am obsessed with the vocal melody. How it has those jumps. Dizzy, drinking, whiskey with my... Anytime that you have those jumps, doo-doo, any big jumps like that, it really creates a point of interest for your listener. So I love they put that right in the chorus. Also, there was variation throughout the whole song. It was not boring. The entire thing was engaging from the beginning to the end, and that was by design. So great job by SHAED. Guys, I cannot wait. I'm gonna dive right into the next song because I feel like this album is just gonna blow me away, and I'm so excited for it. But up next we have Osaka. Her voice. Yes! I'm so excited for this album. I'm so excited. Okay, first of all, I love the reggae feel with like the drum beat having the accent on the upbeats. That kind of beat went throughout the whole song. Love that feel for it. Also, the chorus was really cool because anytime that there's like breaks or where there's nothing too exciting for your listener to hear, they're gonna zone out. And so even though that the melody in the chorus like had some breaks in it, they filled the space with the synth lead. So it's really a great idea, especially for the chorus, because like if there's one spot that you don't want your listeners to zone out, it's the chorus. So I love that they filled that space with the synth lead. It worked perfectly for the song. Also, I love the instrumental drops they do right before the chorus. Anytime we're doing that, it just makes the chorus arrive so much more stronger and bolder that way. So if that's an effect, if you want your chorus to really like hit home, try dropping out the instruments beforehand and it'll help that arrival be a little more powerful. So I love that. The last thing that I want to mention is, especially because right now belting is not so much in style, but the way that the production of the belt at the end worked really, really nicely because Chelsea is belting at the end of the song, but but the production has it just sitting back a little bit in the mix. So it's like very pleasant to listen to, if that makes sense. Like it's very easy to listen to. It's not like a Celine Dion belt in your face. And so if you are a belter and you're a powerhouse and you want to like sing that music and also have that super poppy sound, you can do something like just have it sit back in the mix a little bit. And it really just was a beautiful, beautiful sound at the end and still super powerful. So absolutely love that. Let's roll right into the next one, which is Part-Time Psycho. Twisting the wires in my brain. Part-Time Psycho. Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that song so much for so many reasons. And also like overall the song as a whole is really good. But let's dive into some of the nitty gritty here. First, I love the string intro. It seems like they're liking strings on the album. I think there's been strings on every song so far. But I love how they had that like luscious string intro. And then as soon as you get to the first verse, it's like, psh, all the instrumentation changed and it's just vocals, drums, and bass. Anytime you have a big change like that and some big contrast, it creates a point of interest for your listener. And I'm telling you, I know I talk about it all the time on these Listen With Me's, but that's because I need to hear it. Like when I write music, I always forget and I'll have the same instrumentation throughout the entire song. Like, no. Like you got to give some points of contrast and change it up. Like no section of the song should sound the same. So I absolutely love that that's how they created some intro. I love that that's how they created some contrast right in the intro and immediately you're hooked as a listener. It was beautiful. Also, I love the technique of having another vocal, an octave layer sung in unison. They did that a lot throughout the song. I personally, from doing these Listen With Me's, I've heard other artists do it and I've actually incorporated that in some of my music that's coming out. I'm just like obsessed with that sound for some reason. I can't really tell you why. I just feel like it gives some extra texture and color without putting on harmonies. So it really just, I don't know, just changes the texture of the vocals and makes it a little different. You get a little bit of variation in there. So love that they did that in a lot of places actually throughout this song. Also, lastly, can we talk about how dope the ha 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 melody was? Not only was that part cool, but it was set back in the background enough so it didn't feel like a lead. But again, like it filled the space in the chorus because if there was that space there, that's where you would zone out as a listener. So to keep you engaged, they filled it with those ha-ha-has that were like really set back in the mix. And I don't know, it was just perfect. It was just absolutely perfect for the song. I think that although that song had a little bit of a creepy vibe because it's a little bit psycho, if they made the laughs like too creepy in the front, I think it might have been overdone a little bit. So they really had it just the right way. Perfect. That's how it's an art, not a science. And the very last thing I want to mention is that there was one part right before the bridge where the instrumental melody followed the vocal melody. And I love that. Again, I can't tell you why. I have no idea, but like I love that. And I've definitely incorporated that in some of my own music as well. So super cool technique if you're like looking for something to do and you're not sure what. Write an instrumental part that follows the vocal part and see if it sounds cool. But anyway, up next we have High Dive, which is the title of the album, so I'm sure that this song is gonna be fire. More contrast again. Yes, another fantastic song by SHAED on this album. Also, they had a lot of contrast right in the beginning again. And now that I'm hearing them doing that a few times, it's a really great idea because I don't know about you, but when I listen to music, I know within the first 10 seconds of the song if it's a song that I'm gonna like or not. And so as I'm writing music, I have to remember that like you really need to put some time and effort into your intro and make sure that your intro is engaging because that's the first impression of your whole song, especially if no one's heard you before. Like the first 10 seconds of your song that person hears for the first time says a lot about you and your music. So it is really important. So I love that they have some attention grabbers by putting some contrast right there in their intro. It was beautiful, beautiful. Also, they're really liking the emphasis of the upbeat because they had that again for the instrumentals on the so again, it's just a cool thing noticing that they're doing semi-frequently in this album. Also, you know, we talk about this all the time, but the importance of having some variation. And I love the way that they had variation for the second verse, because when Chelsea started singing that, everything dropped out except for Chelsea and the bass, and that was it. And I just love that pullback feeling. It's really cool, and you can do that just by dropping out a bunch of the instruments. So really loved how that was used in this song. The last thing I want to mention is I thought it was really cool, talking about variation. One of the choruses, when they started, the first line of the chorus was actually muted. And so that was unexpected as a listener. And anytime that you create that expectation for a listener and then break it, it creates a point of interest and a point where you like wake up out of your like zoned out slumber if you're a listener paying attention to the song. So they set you up for this chorus. You've heard it before, and then all of a sudden you're expecting the chorus and it starts off muted. That's when you like wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to keep paying attention because there's still stuff going on. So little things like that, little instances of variation are a great way to keep your listener excited for every single second of the entire song. But anyway, that's all I have for that one. Up next we have I Know Nothing. Ooh. Yes! Ugh. Nice. I really like that song. That was super dope. I mean, the first thing that stood out to me is I love, especially how the song started, there was like the kick on every single beat. It's like, but, I don't know, just creates like a really dancey feely, I guess. Dancey feely? Who the fuck am I? Dancing feeling. I don't know. It was just, I just love the beat of that. I thought that was really cool. Also, there was one part that they had a break in the song, which is something we've heard plenty of times on this album before, except for the break was a longer number of beats than you would expect as a listener. And Chelsea had a little sigh in there. And so again, because it was unexpected, it's a point of interest. So I like that they kind of switched it up by having the beat a little longer than you thought it might be, to kind of wake you up. The last thing I want to say is what a great way to have some contrast in the song, because the end, it kind of went into that instrumental break that had a completely different feel from the song. I actually had to check because I was like, oh, did it like, was it one of those songs that like rolls right into the next song? But no, it was the same song. So anytime that you have contrast like that, again, it's just a way to keep the song exciting and engaging and all that fun stuff. So I absolutely love how they chose to throw that in there. And also like that instrumental breakdown was so dope. I just like wanted to get up and dance the whole time. So I love that they put that in there. But anyway, let's move right along. Up next, we have Once Upon a Time. Wow, that was incredible. That was, I'm speechless. Wow. I have so much to say. First, I'm just gonna point out that they are really loving the strings on this album, and I am on board with it because it just sounds perfect. So love that they're incorporating these strings throughout. And can we just for a second just talk about how absolutely beautiful Chelsea Lee's voice is? Like her tone quality is just effortless and pure and like clean and beautiful. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful sound, and she's a phenomenal singer. So I'm definitely like need to pick up some singing tips from her, because even when she's up there, she's not straining. It's effortless. It's just whoop. Also, side note, I know that Chelsea Lee uses singing straws, and she was the first person that like got me into that, because I've like heard a little bit, but I was like, I don't know, is this like BS? Does it actually work? And she was talking about how she uses singing straws. So then I looked into it, and I actually use them in my voice lessons. By the way, so if you're a vocalist, not to go on a huge tangent here, but if you're a vocalist and you are working on having a strong mixed belt or an effortless belt up there, definitely look into singing straws. If you don't have one, I don't even use a singing straw. Just take a regular straw and put it in a cup of water, and go on YouTube and search like singing straw exercises, and you're just going to do it with a regular straw and a cup of water. And I'm telling you, I have noticed such an improvement on my voice from doing those exercises. So just for my little tangent, if you're a singer and you're working on a belt, definitely look at those straw exercises. And I forgot what I was saying. Fuck. So I absolutely loved how when the chorus came in, the drums dropped out. And what that ended up doing is really make you focus on those beautiful vocals. Chelsea had something important to say, and all ears were on her at that moment because there was less stuff happening in the mix. So if there's a spot that you really want someone to pay attention to, consider dropping out some of the stuff around it so that the focus is really right on that one thing that you really want them to pay attention to. So I was like captivated when that happened and the drums drop out. So it totally worked for me. Also, those background vocals, the harmonies on them were beautiful. It almost sounded like, you know, in like the 50s where they had like those women singing backup vocals, it almost sounded like that, but done in a completely modern way. They were again back in the mix, very wet, I guess. I think there was like a lot of reverb on them, and they just like sat perfectly in there and added so much beautiful like color to that song. So I absolutely love it, especially at the end when they were singing Once Upon a Time. It was awesome. And also, can we talk about how amazing that cinematic ending was with the strings in that string section? Oh, it was great. And then at the very end, there was a point of like unbelievable tension and release, and like anytime that a musician can make me feel emotion on the other side of the airwaves, this is an MP3 file that's sent over the internet, and somehow I hear it and I feel something, that is such a talent. And they really nailed it on that song. So bravo, SHAED. Let's keep this awesome momentum going. Up next, we have Colorful. It's over now. Knew you would come for me. Something colorful about me. Her voice, it's like butter. Loved it. Another great song. I love that the vocal started right on it. You know, sometimes you don't really need an intro, you just dive right in. Love that. I think one of my favorite parts about this whole song was the melody, especially right in the chorus, how it has like that ascending scale and then it kind of floats on the top up there. Beautiful, especially with Chelsea's just gorgeous voice. It just works absolutely perfect for her. It's effortless and it's just on that high, powerful part. So that kind of ascending scale leading up to it is a great way to kind of build that energy up to the top. I also loved how there was a little bit of a call and response in the bridge where like Chelsea would sing something and then there would be like a little string part. And so she'd sing something and there was a little string and they went back and forth a little bit. Another great way to just have something that's exciting happening in your song. I know that everyone has heard the next song, Trampoline, but this is the Zayn version. I don't know if that's the version that like is on the radio and that we heard. So I'm gonna listen to it just because I want to listen to the whole album in full. But if it's the same one, then we all already know the song. But anyway, here's Trampoline. I have not heard this version. Ooh, that's sexy. Wait if I'm on fire. La 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 la. How am I so deep in love? I never feel so. We already know and love that song, so I'm going to keep my commentary short. But I do think it's really cool that they kind of switched it up and had a different version in this album, since they know that their listeners have already heard Trampoline a million times. So definitely cool that they had a little remix in there for us. But anyway, up next we have No Other Way. Nice, I like that one. I just like every song on this album, let's be real. So I think that it was really cool. There was that sexy feel going on, and the way that they achieved that by having a lower vocal part with like a super sick bass part as well. So I think that's really how they got that sexy kind of feel, especially in the verses. And the only other thing that I want to mention is that I love the like, I don't know if theme is too strong of a word, but how in the chorus they had the vibe going on through all the words. I don't know, I haven't heard anything like that. It was really creative to have the and all the words kind of rhymed and fit in there. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was very creative and very unique, and I loved it. Anyway, up next we have Wish We Had Longer. Awesome. I like that song. I'm gonna be honest, it's probably not the most memorable one for me on the album, but it was still a solid song and I loved it. I really like the melody jumps. Anytime, we already talked about that, but anytime you have those jumps, it's a great melody technique. So love that. And I also like the way that the song ended by all the instruments dropping out and you just had the vocal and the harmony kind of end for us there. But that's really all I have to say about that one. Up next we have Visible Woman. I'm obsessed with that part. I'm just a visible woman. I can't. Wow. I don't like picking favorites, but that one's definitely one of my top songs for the entire album. Holy cow. I think for me, really, it was the vocals for this song. This song just really highlighted how much of a skilled singer Chelsea Lee is. Just complete effortlessness up there at the top and so much power. And it was really highlighted. My favorite thing was that break right before the chorus. First of all, it's a longer break than you would have expected. There's nothing there. And then she just like comes in with really, really powerful belts. Wow, I'm just completely blown away. All I could think about in that song was how good of a singer Chelsea Lee is. So I really, really like that one. I felt that it hit home. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. All right, we got 2 songs left. We're almost there. Up next, we have 6 in the Morning. 6 in the morning, I've been waiting all of my life. Looking for answers, I'll move the stake, you're here. That was awesome. That was so good. I really like that. And I think that's like the official last song, but we're gonna do one more because on Spotify they have another version of High Dive that we're gonna go out with today. So I guess if that was the album, it's a beautiful way to end the album, even though there's technically 1 song left. But anyway, some of the things I loved about that is, again, the cinematic strings. I love that that was kind of a theme. The strings were a theme from the beginning of the album to the end. Tied it all together very nicely and just love it. They really did a phenomenal job with the instrumentation and writing the parts and everything for this. I love the way that the melody creates a buildup leading into that chorus, how again, like the rising melody landing at the top, except for on this scale, Chelsea went off the pentatonic scale. So there was one note in there that was not on the typical pop scale that kind of like wakes you up and creates this point of interest. Absolutely love it. The melody writing was beautiful in this song. And I also want to talk a little bit about the piano part because in the background you hear like this do-do-do-do-do-do-do kind of like flickering piano part. I like that. It's very simple, but it creates like this color and creates like, I don't know, like another layer or something to put on the song. And then you have like this cinematic buildup, and then all of a sudden you think it's gonna like envelope into something bigger, but instead it pulls us back. And that piano part, as well as the instrumentation, instead of having this motion, it just hits on the chords and then changes again for the chord. So that like instrumentation change from having motion to not having motion is a really great way to create some variation in your song, or I guess contrast really would be the right word, to have some contrast in your song. And it also really helps that emotion come through where it's like, we're moving, we're moving, we're moving, now we're stopped and we're singing and you're listening. But anyway, if you guys made it this far, first of all, thank you. Mwah, I love you. I had so much fun hanging out with you today. We have one more song left, which I think is a special song on the album. It's High Dive, the Louis Del Mar version. Before we go into that, you know, I gotta do my normal spiel. Give me a like, give me a subscribe if you like this video, because it really does help me reach a wider audience, and I am so grateful to you for doing that. So thank you, thank you. Mwah. If you are a singer-songwriter or an independent musician, I would love for you to join our completely free Facebook group. The link is in the description. It's just a supportive community for independent artists. this. So if you have any questions, anything, you're releasing a song and you want people's feedback, or you need help with your release strategy, you can ask away all your burning questions to this group of other independent artists that'll be more than happy to give you the support that you're looking for. So come join us. But anyway, I love you guys so much. Come be my friends on Instagram. Let's hang out. My Instagram is DanielLadyBeGood. Would love to connect with you over there. And anyway, let's listen to the very last song today. We got High Dive Part 2. Yay, we did it. We made it through the whole album. I hope you guys had as much fun with this one as I did. The only thing I want to comment about this song is just keep in mind, if you have a hit, if you have a crowd favorite, get some extra mileage out of that. Do a remix, do another version, do an acoustic version, have someone else sing on it with you or rap on it. Like, stretch that, stretch that. If you wrote a song that's gold, you have every right and deserve to get as much mileage out of that as you can. So I love that they had a different version here at the end for us. But anyway, I love you guys so much. I had so much fun hanging out with you. Can't wait to see you next time. And remember, trust yourself, be yourself, love yourself. You got this. I'll see you next time.